Qapla all. It's been a sad week for Star Trek fans. First, we lost the last of the 4 founding mothers and fathers of Trek, D.C. Fontana. Her contributions to Star Trek were as broad and vital as any to the mythos, and very few will ever know just how much she shaped Trek beyond her direct writings on 3 different series. We also lost Robert Walker Jr., who played Charlie X on the original series episode of the same name. Although he wasn't a series regular, I would dare say he was one of, if not the, most easily remembered one-episode TOS characters. And reaffirming the adage that these things always come in threes, last night I learned of Rene Auberjonois' passing. I didn't do a video for DC or Robert Walker Jr., and I meant no disrespect to them, but Deep Space Nine was the Star Trek I grew up with. It aired during my formative years. I was barely 14 when DS9 premiered, still a freshman in high school and, to be honest, quite shy and socially awkward. By the time DS9 ended, I was 20, almost 21. I was older, wiser, and far more confident than the 14-year-old who started watching. I credit much of my growth to Deep Space Nine, and Odo was an important part of that. In the final seasons of DS9, when Vic Fontaine was teaching Odo to socialize with humanoids, he was also teaching me. And while Odo had more luck with his Kira than I did with mine, I can at least say I tried. Rene was not only known for Deep Space Nine, he also played Colonel West in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, where he presented a presentation to the Federation President on a paper board. Quite hysterically when even 5 years later, we were doing presentations on PowerPoint. Unfortunately, you only get to see this scene in the director's cut of the movie. He was also on an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, Oasis, and in the Stargate SG-1 episode, The Other Side. In his earlier life, he was well known as the chief of staff on the TV show Benson, and as Father Mulcahy in the MASH movie. On Deep Space Nine, however, as Odo, the changeling, the outcast, he shined, and is most memorable to me. Odo was a main character and appeared in almost every episode. Odo tells us early on in the series how he got his name. It literally translates as unknown sample, which is how the Bajoran scientist who originally found him had him labeled. There is nothing I can do to thank Rene for what he did for me, but I feel like I can best honor him by remembering him and hopefully letting others remember as well. One of my favorite Deep Space Nine episodes with Odo is Heart of Stone, a 3rd season episode where Odo and Kira are chasing after a marquee while on a runabout. After beaming down to an asteroid, Kira gets stuck in a crystal that slowly grows around her. Over the course of the episode, Odo tries in vain to save her. When it's clear all hope is lost, Odo confesses to loving Kira, and Kira surprisingly says she loves Odo too. But Odo, being a master investigator and an expert at humanoid emotions, he immediately knew that this was not the real Kira. It was indeed another shapeshifter trying to find out why Odo didn't want to return home. The real Kira was knocked out in a stasis chamber. He leaves with the real Kira, but he never tells her how he realized he was dealing with an imposter. Another very memorable Odo episode is one he doesn't have a large part in, but he is the most crucial character. The 5th season episode Children of Time sees the Defiant find a planet in the Gamma Quadrant with a mostly human population. It turns out they are the descendants of the Defiant crew, which will crash land in the distant past when they try to leave orbit because quantum. Everyone on the Defiant survives the crash except Kira, who dies a few days later because Dr. Bashir can't get her back to DS9 for proper treatment. Odo can't immediately hold his shape because of the aforementioned quantum, but the Odo who crashed with the ship is still alive and learned how to hold his shape again over time. During the episode, the crew has to decide if they successfully leave orbit and go back to DS9 causing the entire colony of 8,000 people to disappear because the crash never happens. Or if they recreate the crash and never get to see their families again back on the station. I don't want to spoil the episode if you've never seen it, because it is, in my opinion, one of the best. But suffice to say, the Odo who lived on the planet confesses to Kira, the Kira who's still alive, his true love, and that her Odo loved her too, even though he's stuck in the bucket at the moment. Just watch the episode, Children of Time. You'll get it. This Odo-Kira relationship remains awkward until the 6th season episode, His Way, where Odo calls upon the Vic Fontaine hologram to help him get out of the friend zone with Kira. Vic Fontaine ends up setting up a real date between Kira and Odo, but Odo thinks the Kira at his table is a hologram, so he is more confident than he would otherwise have been. The revelation that Odo thinks Kira is a hologram ruins the date, but by the end of the episode, we have Kira and Odo's first kiss.
Are we going to have dinner together or not?
And if we do, then what?
I don't know. Maybe we could go dancing.
And after that, I suppose you'll expect me to kiss you.
Well, it's possible.
But then who needs dinner? Why don't I just get it over with and kiss you right now?
Well, why don't you?
Another episode I need to mention is Far Beyond the Stars, also a 6th season episode. In this episode, Rene plays Douglas Pabst, the human editor of a 1950s sci-fi magazine, Incredible Tales. Benny Russell, played by Avery Brooks, and other DS9 main cast members are all writers or otherwise involved in the business. Rene, as Douglas, is in the unenviable position of having to explain to Benny that the owner of the magazine has refused to publish his story about the African-American captain in charge of a deep space station. The episode is far different than most Trek episodes, and I had mixed feelings of it at the time when it aired. But I've come to love the episode, and it gives us a chance to see the real Rene without his Odo mask. By the way, in the Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind, Rene Auberjonois tells us that he chose to bring his food to the set every day in liquid form, soups and purees. He could drink with a straw, because eating would ruin his delicate makeup, which he was in most hours of most days when filming. His dedication to his character was beyond anything I could have imagined. Rene Auberjonois, I thank you. I raise a glass to you, and I salute you. I thank you for helping make me the man I am today. You will be missed. Qapla.